Hello, my name is Michele, and you're listening to Profit is a Choice. Joining me on the podcast today is Angela Foster. She is a style coach, and she is going to help us focus on how to be confident in what we're wearing, no matter where we're going and no matter what our size is. So I hope you stay tuned and enjoy. Every day, empowered entrepreneurs are taking ownership of their company financial health and enjoying the rewards of reduced stress and more creativity. With my background as a financial software developer, owner of multiple businesses in the interior design industry, educator, and speaker, I coach women in the interior design industry to increase their profits, regain ownership of their bottom line, and to have fun again in their business. Welcome to Profit is a Choice. Hey, Angela, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, Michele, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here with you today.
Awesome. I am excited as well. And we're talking about something that is fun and maybe flirty. And I don't know, we could probably throw all types of adjectives in there, but we're going to be talking about kind of our style and dress and dressing for confidence so that we really feel good no matter what situation we find ourselves in.
Yes.
And before we do that, I'd love for you shared a little bit with me before we got started, but if you could share a little bit with our listeners and tell us how you started your business, how you got to where you are today.
Yes. Well, and thank you for asking. So becoming a style coach was not ever something that I had on my radar. And back in 2017, a girlfriend had just had her second baby. And her husband had just asked her for a divorce. So she was going through a lot of personal challenges and big upheavals. And she said to me just casually, I don't recognize my body. I don't have a style anymore. All I've been doing is taking care of kids and having babies. And I just want to feel like myself again. And you always look amazing. Would you be willing to help me? And I'm like, oh my gosh, of course, of course. So it was very organic the way it started. Like for 4 to 6 weeks, I just sent her some pictures. I was like, oh my gosh, this would look amazing on you. Check it out. And after we've been working together for a while, another circle of her friends said, like, you look great. I can't believe you've bounced back like this. You seem so happy. What's going on? And she said to me, do you mind if I give them your name and would you be willing to help them too? And so that's kind of how it started. I got one coaching client and snowballed into 5 and 10 and all of that. So since then, I came up with a very specific framework that I walk clients through so that it takes them from where they're at now, which is usually someplace like I have a closet packed with clothes and nothing to wear, to really feeling confident that they can walk into their closet and grab anything and it looks great on them. So yeah. In a nutshell.
I love that. I love that. So I'll tell you, I coached a business owner who years ago was a stylist. And what was so cool about it was there were so many parallels with the way that as a coach, I do my job, or as an interior designer, as we would do that, right? So in interior design, window treatments, whatever it is that we're doing, we're going into that home. We are assessing how we want that room to feel, how the client wants the room to feel, what they're going to be doing in that room, how are they going to be using the room, how is the light going to work, like what are the elements that are working with us and against us? And then we're going to make some recommendations based on all of those things. And as a stylist or a style coach, you're doing the same thing. You're asking us our questions, you're evaluating the situation, and then you're making suggestions. But I'll tell you, there were 2 things, and I'd be interested to see, I'm guessing that you probably do something similar within your framework. But there were a couple things that the stylist that I work with, and she's probably, I won't tell who she is because she probably wishes that I do some things differently today. But there were a couple things that she did that I really loved, right? And since we're going to focus on confidence for this particular episode in our conversation, one of the things that she did was she had me walk into my closet. And she had me take first pass. If it is ripped, if it is torn, and I don't mean intentionally like some of the ripped torn stuff that we like to wear, but if it is ripped, if it's torn, if it's stained, if there is something wrong with that piece of clothing, take it out of your closet. Then she had me go through and take everything out that did not fit me properly. So that if it was, those jeans that I really wanted to get into, or what I would call my next level jeans, the ones that I had to go into if my weight went up, she would have me go in and say, if it is not currently fitting you, she didn't say throw it away. She said, take it out of your closet. And one of the best things she ever said was, if it is in your closet, it should fit you, and you should be able to walk in and put it on without question, instead of standing there, will this fit? Will that fit? Will that? It fits me, or it does not fit me, right? The next thing
100%.
she did was she asked me, how do I want to feel in my clothes? And she made me give her 3 adjectives. And I can remember I said I wanted to be comfortable. There is nothing worse. We were on a cruise, and I put on a new shirt that I had bought. And the minute we started to leave the cabin, I could feel it scratching in my side. And I stopped and walked back in and cut the tag out where it was scratching me. And I said, this will bug me all day long, right? So her thing was, you tell me the 3 words. And I said, I want to feel comfortable. I wanted to feel confident. That was my big word. And then the 3rd word was kind of up for grabs: sporty, flirty, beautiful, responsible, whatever that extra word was for where I was going to go. But the 2 that did not change were comfortable and confident.
100%. Yes.
Tell me what your framework looks like, and if it included any of those kinds of things.
Yes. And there was so much goodness in what you just said. So, and because we are talking about confidence, if we could just circle back, it's, the whole thing of, if it doesn't fit me right now, get it out of my closet. There is nothing worse for a woman's confidence than when she walks into her closet in the morning, she has 10 minutes to figure out an outfit, and it's like, doesn't fit, it's too small, it's too tight. It's going through that every single morning is just such a drain on our happiness and how we present ourselves to the world. So I love that she had you do that. And even if it's a situation of it's too big, it doesn't fit, it's slowing us down. We don't have time for this. I mean, we all know we have a lot on our plate to get accomplished. So the faster we can get dressed and feel awesome and get out of the house, the better off we are. So yes.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing here too, Angela, and I'll throw this out for the listeners. If they're feeling a little bit of angst over that, like I did, I got a little angsty over it, because there were some things that I really loved. I mean, as designers, we walk into that all the time. You walk into somebody's house and you're seeing like this picture, and you're thinking that picture doesn't go there. And they're like, but my grandmother gave me that. There's some attachment. And so when we think about it, we have attachment sometimes with clothing items. Maybe not because of the beauty of the item, but something that it represents. And so the thing that she said to me was, move it to another closet. Just move it. And then if you go back in the next 6 months and you need it and you get it, then you have it. If you know that your weight fluctuates, create stacks. This is a stack for when I go up. This is the stack for when I go down, and swap them out like you might swap them out if it were, a season. So she gave me permission to get rid of things, but she gave me permission to keep the things that I needed to keep. I just didn't need to keep them in this space. Exactly for the reason that you said, because it is draining. I don't know if you know this, but I believe Steve Jobs, he always wore that black turtleneck. Yes. And one of the things, I don't know that his was necessarily for confidence, but his was because they said he made so many decisions, he didn't want to make another decision. So he just decided, this is all that I'm going to wear. And that decision's already made. Yeah. I will say most of us as designers, we like to live a life that's a little bit more rounded and full of color in the clothing department. So that might not work for us, right? But the way that it fits, and just that going in there, because if not, you used a phrase before we got on, mind chatter. We have enough mind chatter. We all have mind chatter, but the mind chatter, this doesn't fit you, must mean something is wrong, right? Unless you're going down a size. And I'm not saying this is right or wrong. This is just the way our brains tend to work. Unless we're going down a size, unless it's too big for us, then we're having this chatter that something is wrong and this isn't good. And so we are starting our day with our own internal mind chatter that is not setting us up for confidence and success and joy and all those things that we need to be who we need to be in our day-to-day job. So just removing those things clears that part of the mind chatter. Right?
Yes, 100%. And no, I read the same thing about Steve Jobs, and the reason why, and there was some other thing. I heard a stat one time, and it said the average American makes 64,000 decisions a day. And I mean, even if it's just a no, I'm not going to wear that. No, I'm not going to wear that. I mean, those start piling up until eventually we just have decision fatigue and can't, don't have any energy left for the things as business owners that are really important to decide and to, move on. So yes, I love all of that. So in answer to your question about the framework, yes, it's the SPARK method. And it's an acronym. So the very first place that clients and I start is with body shape. And what is your body shape? And what are the styles and shapes and silhouettes that are going to flatter it the best? When I first started coaching after my initial client, we would talk about body shape, and I heard a lot of, oh, I'm an apple and my boobs are too big and my shoulders are too wide, or I'm a pear and my butt's too big and my thighs are too, it was always, this is what I am, and this is why it's bad or wrong or that. And again, it goes back to mind chatter and your mindset when you walk out of the door. So I threw that away. That's not how we talk about body shape around here. It's all about just finding the balance. So if you have a more delicate, a hip and thigh area, then that's where we want to add volume in order for you to have that balanced silhouette, or vice versa. If you have a more delicate shoulder and bust area, then we can add volume there. And then all of a
I
sudden,
like that word delicate. I like it. I think I'm going to adopt that word delicate.
Yes. Go right ahead. You
know what? I'm just going to stop and say this. It is so much more of a gracious way to speak about these amazing bodies that God has created us with, that do amazing things. We ask so much of our body. I did not appreciate my pancreas until it quit working. I mean, right? That we need to honor these bodies. And so pointing out the areas that are wonderfully made and beautifully made. And so what if I've got a big butt and big legs? Hopefully they're strong and they're getting me somewhere. So I just love the idea of talking about it in a more affirming way. Like, this is my, delicate shoulders, or whatever it is, just giving ourselves words to be kind and gracious about these wonderful bodies that move us around all day, every day.
100%. I could not agree more. And then it becomes a thing of, oh, I get to wear volume on top, and it's giving us something versus taking something away, which again is just all this negativity piling up on itself. Mm-hmm. So one of the things with clients, when I first start working with them, if I feel a little bit of resistance to this thought process, I have them put a Post-it note on the mirror and say, I'm so blessed because of my delicate bust, instead of saying like, my boobs aren't big enough. Right. I have, delicate bust and all of that, and be thankful for that. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. And, I'm type 1 diabetic. And so I have had to look at here are the foods I cannot eat, but I instead have tried to do the whole, this is what fuels my body. This is what is good for my body. Oh, I can have more of this because this is what my body needs for energy, as opposed to looking at all the things that I cannot have or should not have or whatever. So I love using that same approach. It's the one that we use in business as well, right? It's very much that growth mindset that Carol Dweck talks about, and moving forward. All right. Yeah. So Angela, then after the S, do you mind just telling us what your acronym is? And then I want to talk about, I want to move us into the conversation after we do that, where we can kind of talk about, we all are dressing for different things. Remember, I said my last thing was like flirty or confident, or whatever. We have places to go and people to see. We've got networking events, we've got speaking events, we've got photo shoots for our branding, website, social media, going to the grocery store and not wanting to break brand. Like, we've got these things that are happening. And I want to talk about how we can build confidence in our day-to-day and in the things ways we need to show up for business, and use your SPARK method as the backbone for that confidence. So let's go down. So S is shape. What is P?
Yes. The P is for pants. I work with a lot of petites, and let's be honest, 44% of American women are 5'4" and under. So there's a lot of short girls out there, and pants, no matter how tall or short you are problematic. But in the midsection, the length, the leg shape, all of that. So we create a 3-step perfect pant formula. So you'll always know if they fit before you buy them or before you waste time trying them on. The A is for accessories. So what is your signature accessory going to be? And how can we easily use that to pull your look all together so you always look polished? Then the R is refine your style. That's where we talk about the colors. Now, this can be twofold, right? So I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners. And so then they have brand colors that they have to incorporate, right? So there's that. And then there's also the colors that look best on your skin tone. So we nail those down. This is a super, maybe not the sexiest part of it, but the thing that makes it so powerful is that when 80% of your closet is in a certain color palette, it makes mixing and matching so much easier. And which just circles back again to making getting dressed and deciding what to wear easier in the morning. So there's that. And then the other part of refine your style is, to your point, the 3 words. I work mostly with one-on-one coaching clients. So they create a Pinterest board with each of the 3 words where they pin aspirational styles, what edgy means to them. What does that look like to you? Because, professional to you and professional to me could be very, very different, right? Yeah. And it matters more about what it means to them, but it also gives me an idea when I'm shopping for them, what they're looking for. And then the K is the closet edit. So we purge the things that are no longer serving us. To your point, if it needs to be altered, if it needs to be donated, if it needs to be put in a box, when we do closet edits, because that, to your point, can be very stressful, especially when you've spent a lot of money on, you're looking at this pile and you're like, oh my God, this is so much money right here. When you put it in a box, put it out of the way someplace where you don't think about it, set an alarm on your phone for 30 days. And if you have not broken open that box in 30 days, your decisions were right. Like, it's fine. And if you said, oh my gosh, no, I really do want that black pencil skirt, you can snag it out of there and there's no fear. So yeah.
So I love that. One of the things that I did this year, because I didn't realize until the first time I did a closet edit, I didn't realize the emotions that I was going to have. And I had some strong, we had to really work through. It was almost like I was having a therapy session on some of it. And one of the things that the stylist that I was working with at the time said to me was, she said, Michelle, I was looking at, well, I paid XYZ for that or whatever.
Exactly.
And she said, are you wearing it? Mm-hmm. And I said, no. And she said, well, if you paid that money and you're not wearing it, you're letting it rot without use. What if you were to donate it or sell it to somebody who would wear it and then they actually would use it? And I thought, okay. So then it flipped, the mind chatter, it flipped the conversation, it flipped the script. And it was like, now I can put this item to use or to service for somebody else who might need it, as opposed to hoarding it in my closet out of guilt, right? So the negative aspect of it. And I got to tell you, Angela, it was so, I have used those lessons in my life. It's almost like Marie Kondoing, right? Yeah. Your closet. But my mother had to clean out a closet that she had kept some of my grandmother's things in. This was just probably about maybe a year and a half ago. It was a year ago. It was last year. And I was able to take these ideas and concepts and say to my mom, what are we going to do with this? Who's using it? Do we need to keep it? Is this a family heirloom? Does it fit you? Does it not fit you? While she stood there and emotionally kind of walked through years of her life with these clothes, because she saw events tied to when she wore them, right? Yeah. So I don't want us to miss that this isn't a flippant process. That's why sometimes it's not one that you can even do by yourself. And it's a process that says, I'm going to come alongside you and help you deal with the logic and the emotion of how you're dressing, because both pieces have to come together for us to feel confidence in what we have on.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I think just circling back to the whole how much I paid for it, there is a guilt thing there. Unfortunately, if I paid whatever, 300, 500, whatever for the dress, and I'm not wearing it, me not wearing it and holding on to it, it's not going to say get my money back.
No,
Right. And that's, I mean, so it's gone. So we just have to move on from it. But that's where things like ThreadUp and Poshmark are so fantastic because it does help alleviate a little bit of that, like that, oh, I messed
right.
up, I shouldn't have bought it kind of feel. So yes.
We
And
have a great charity here where we live that supports women who are coming out of abusive situations, and it gives them a chance to get dressed. But then it also, they sell some of it like in a little boutique. And so it's nicer things, but you're able to donate it, have a tax write-off, but you're donating it somewhere where you know that women are able to come in and actually use those things. And so
yes.
that again gives a purpose to the giving it away versus it kind of helps balance a little bit.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so we have the SPARK method. I'm going to quickly, it was shape, pants, accessories, refine, meaning refine style and all those other things, and then a closet edit.
Yep.
All right.
You got
So
it, girl.
with that process, I'm a
Yes.
process gal, so I love it.
Oh,
So with
good.
that process, talk to me about a little bit about how do we go about figuring out like what our personal style is or signature style? I've often wondered what mine is. I still don't know what mine is. I think I am I hope it's not offensive. I think I'm a little schizophrenic with what I like. I like so many things
Sure.
that the idea, like there are some people that you can look at and you're like, oh, that's her style. I always find it interesting when I'm shopping with other people and they point out things. This looks like you. This looks like you. This looks like you. One thing that I love is florals. I love all things flowers. And I'm in my mid 50s, moving towards the late part of the 50s in a few months. And I am finally making peace with the fact that I like bright colors, fun colors, all the
Yes.
florals, give
Yes.
it to me.
Right.
Like I like black and I like white, but if I had a whole closet of black and white, that would not represent me. You can see behind me. I mean, I'm like, give me some glam, give me some flowers, give
Yep.
me comfort. And
Yep.
I really think it's taken me time to say, like, is it okay if I wear all that? Because the people around me are all dressing so stately and Calvin Kleinish. And I'm like, I'm so glad that you guys are J. Crew and Calvin Klein. But I'm like, give me the florals.
I know, I love that. And I do think it takes a while to find it. Like when I look back on, I mean, you and I are the same age. So when I look back on it, I think it probably wasn't until I was 30-ish before I really started to figure it out. And to be quite honest, it's changed several times.
Mine too.
Like just as you get older and your personality changes, your job requirements change, all of that. So in regards to finding what your personal style is, so I have clients do a brain dump, and it's funny because the dressing your brand. I've been doing a lot of lunch and learns for companies lately, and one of the exercises that we do during the lunch and learn is a brain dump of all of the potential words that you think would describe your style. And when you think you've written them all down, keep going because
Yes.
I mean, just listen to what you said. You had said, like I wanted, like the words that you had given her were comfortable and confident. But now you're talking about colorful and floral, so much more specific, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I always challenge them to keep pushing. Like if you want to, if you want to be like, responsible and classic and you know what I mean, just push it a little bit more so it's more descriptive for you. It helps not only because when we can articulate what our style is, it makes everything else so much easier, especially shopping. One of the things my clients often say is, I'm so much more deliberate when I shop now. When I think about my words, and if it doesn't matter, I walk through Nordstrom and there's a black suit that's on sale, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's amazing and it's $200 off. Well, right. And if classic or conservative are not your words, it doesn't matter how much it's on sale. A black suit is not going to be your jam. So don't buy it. So it just makes it so much easier, gives yourself mentally permission just to walk by it, even if it's a great sale.
The other thing that I have thought about too is when I buy something, can I style it 3 different ways? Can I use it in more than one thing versus this is the only way that I'm going to be able to wear it? And I asked myself, do I feel beautiful in this? Do I feel amazing in this? You know, words that kind of take confidence and amp it up a little bit. Do I feel like I can present myself in this in the way that I want to for whatever the event is?
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, these days, at least for me, it feels like all the words around what used to be kind of stated expectations have shifted. For example, we just had a formal wedding, and the different things that people wore to a formal wedding were their interpretation of what to wear to a formal wedding. But we had a broad range. Okay. I'm not saying everybody was beautiful, but it was a broad range. It went from a normal Sunday type dress to, I mean, of course, I was the mother of the groom, but I'm in a long dress with a train. I mean, we went from sequins and long to, you know, again, just maybe a tea-length dress. So it was all over the place.
Yes.
And so now that we have become much more relaxed in our dressing and our day-to-day, it actually has created an ambiguity. It has created I've got to go to this event and I don't even know what to wear. I don't even know what the expectations are. You've got people now coming in beautiful $300 dresses with tennis shoes, which I love that cute little style, very French. I love it. But then you've got somebody in Manila, you know, they've got on like the $400 shoes. And then, so it's like you don't even know what to do. So because there is a confusion, and maybe nobody else feels it, I feel it. Like I'm looking at something and I'm reading the description and I'm like, I still don't even know what that means.
Exactly. Michelle, no, you are not the only one. In fact, I hear it all day, every day. So no, absolutely. And to your point, it's gotten worse since COVID.
Yes.
It used to be we knew what casual Friday in the office meant, right? Like instead of whatever, now you can wear khakis. And then, you know, we spent 2 years wearing yoga pants and everybody's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to dress. And not only that, the clothes that used to make sense and used to fit,
that's right,
all of that, they don't fit anymore. So it's just left us in this kind of vacuum.
Or we don't have the event to go to wear it. Like I have certain clothes in my closet that I bought for events, but then those events got shut down. And now I'm sitting with those clothes that I love. They're amazing. I'm just like looking for the event. Could somebody have an event that I could wear an off the shoulder brocade light? I could wear it to go see Barbie. It's pink. I'm just saying, I've got some beautiful clothes.
Right.
The expectation was there that the event was going to happen and it didn't happen. And so to your point, now we're sitting here going, I don't even know how to dress anymore. Where's the line between comfortable and stylish and cute and not always yoga pants, but maybe sometimes yoga pants? How do we elevate yoga pants? So with this confusion, it really comes down to just feeling really great in whatever we choose to wear, right?
Bingo. Oh, yes. Exactly.
So how do we do that?
Right. So the question I ask when my clients bring this up, I say to them, will you feel confident if you're the best dressed person in the room? Or are you okay with being the most casual person in the room? And or somewhere in between, tell me more about that. That is because that's the biggest thing, is that it doesn't matter if I'm in a dressier dress than everybody else is. If I'm okay with that, then great, then do that. But you have to figure out what on that scale, where your comfort level is on that scale. And then we can work from there. Right. So did that answer the question?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Okay, good.
So when you support your clients in accentuating maybe the more delicate areas or the areas they want to highlight or with their signature accessory style, what are some of the tips and tricks that you give them to do that?
Yep. So the very first thing that we do before we ever talk about delicate hips or delicate bust or anything like that is I have them pick out their favorite feature. And with 90% of my clients, it's going to be bust or legs. The majority of women find, you know, like fall into one of those categories. I've had a few women who love their bum, a few who love their waist. I had a woman one time who loved her arms. She did have amazing arms. So I can see
Funny,
that.
mine is more neck and shoulders.
See, there you go.
I'm like, let's
Yes.
ignore the rest and let's just look right here.
But that has so many opportunities, that whole décolleté area. So we figure out what your favorite feature is first. And then before we worry about anything else, we come up with ways to accentuate it. So for example, for you love your décolleté area, in which case and we would obviously have to have a little bit, more information, but then where are we at with V-necks? Where are you at with jewelry and necklaces and earrings, everything that brings the attention to that area? Also, can we find styles that maybe have a little bit of a detail around the neckline to, again, bring your attention there first? So that's what we focus on. And then we worry about the other things. It's not to say, like, I know I don't want to come off as like Pollyanna, like we never talk about, like the fact that my stomach isn't as flat as I want it to be or anything like that. It's just not what we focus on first. We focus on the good stuff.
Now, how do you work with all right, I'll give you a little bit of my journey because I'm sure I'm not alone in this.
Absolutely.
So I was skinny mini all the way through school, all the way through high school. I don't even think I cracked 100 pounds until I was well into my work life, right? I was just a thin. Graduated high school, I was wearing 14T in the teen department. I was so thin. So I think that's why neck and shoulders has always been my thing, because there ain't a whole lot more going on. But then, I had babies, and to the point that you had, my body shifted and it changed. It bounced back after the first baby, not as much after the second baby. Well, then I started having trouble with my endocrine system and thyroid and all of that. I was pre-diabetic and didn't know that I was, and, insulin resistance. And then I got much bigger than I had ever been, and I was uncomfortable in my clothes. I can remember one summer telling my husband, I'm not wearing shorts this entire summer. Now I'm telling you, I went from like a size 0 maybe to I'm not even wearing, I went and bought sundresses, and I wore sundresses the entire summer because I felt comfortable in them. They were still cool. But then I was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic. I lost 30 pounds. So then I'm back to a 0 in my clothes. So my clothes have I've got ranges of clothes like nobody's business. Then it took my body time, after surgeries and all kinds of other medical events that I had, to get back to maybe a more stable size where I might shift up or down 5 pounds, just, going through menopause and all this yummy stuff that happens as women, where my body is shifting again, the hormonal shifts and changes. And I got to tell you, I have struggled. I think most women who have gone through any of that, and it doesn't matter where your start and end is. I'm not trying to make those the point. I'm making the point that there have been 5 or 6 size differentiations between there, if not more, to manage and to try to feel as confident and comfortable and whatever else in each of those stages. How do you help women manage that? Because our bodies, everybody's, men's too. Men don't tend to seem to care quite the same way that women seem to care. Not pointing any fingers at our lovely men.
That's exactly right.
But as a majority, it doesn't seem to impact them the same way.
No.
Because women, we are judged, and we judge ourselves, whether we like to admit it or not. There's a quick conversation that happens in our brain based on how we see people, right? And based on how we perceive them to see us. And so my first question to you is, how do you help support clients that are going through all those changes?
Yes. Well, the first thing is, to your point, we just have to be honest. And as women, our bodies are changing and will change. So it's just one of those things. We go through, it starts at puberty. And then to your point, we get pregnant, we have the baby, whatever happens, happens. We go through menopause, we have medical, it's just, our bodies will change. I find that with clients, once they go through the spark method and they understand the technique of, adding volume where you need it, where your body needs it, and minimizing volume where you don't need it, then it doesn't matter when your body changes because the thought process is still the same. So I have a little bit more volume around my middle. It's okay. I know how to deal with that. So, and I just, women, when they have a plan and when they feel like they're in control and empowered, it makes everything easier. And then it's not a situation of, like, oh, I gained 5 pounds and, like the jeans don't fit anymore or whatever. It's okay. I know what to do.
It sounds very much like having tools in the toolbox. So
Yes.
your SPARK method is really giving us tools that take some of the emotion out, that then allows us to go, okay, I don't like this 5 pounds. I don't like the gain, the loss, whatever it is, the change, right? The redistribution that happens sometimes. I don't necessarily like that, or that's not what I signed up for. However, I have a tool in my toolbox. Let me go back and look at the pants method, the 3-step.
Yeah.
Let me go back and look at, what do I need to accentuate now? What do I need to minimize now? How do I need to make this flattering now so that I can still feel good? I love that, because it's not about staying the same size, and it's not about staying in the same thing. It's about using these tools, using these thought processes and frameworks to come with us as we journey and travel through our life to feel good in our clothes.
Absolutely. And Michele, it's not, those are all big life moments that we were talking about, right? Getting pregnant and menopause, those are all big things. But also, it just helps going from season to season. When you know the styles and the silhouettes that are going to look best on you, and it's the new fall season, and you're walking through Bloomingdale's and you see a 6 foot tall mannequin who is a size 0, and you're like, oh my God, I love that dress. And then you put it on and you're like, wah, wah. It makes it walking away past that dress so much easier, because just from a non-emotional standpoint, you can go like, well, yeah, but I'm not 6 feet tall and I'm not a size 0. So we're going to just keep moving on. It just, even just closet updates, it makes it so much easier just to keep going. And I think, so all of my clients, I walk them through that. Now, some clients, that's all they need. The thing is like, everybody thinks, oh, women love to shop, or they should just be like pop out of the womb and be good at it. Well, that's not true. We graduate from college, we get our first credit card, we have to get some clothes so that we can go to our job. And just, I don't know, unless you have a super stylish sister or mom who taught you these things, very few women just know how to shop naturally. So walking them through those 5 steps really gets them to that point that if they love to shop, terrific. Now you have the tools that you need to know how to. And then I also have clients that are just like, I either hate to shop, I need you to shop for me, or I just don't have time. Like, I have such limited free time, and the time that I do have, I don't want it to be at a mall or online when I could be with my family, or I could be growing my business, or, a plethora of other things. So that they just want to delegate it to somebody else, which is fine too. So,
what I love about this is, so I'm one of those short girls. I started off at 5'4". I'm probably somewhere between 5'3" and 5'3.5" as time has pushed me down, as my husband says, weighted me down. We do get a little shorter in our age. So I'm in that 5'3", 5'4", which is a very weird place to be.
It is.
Because some of the petite things don't fit me, right, based on my body. And some of the regular size clothes don't fit me right. Sometimes if I wear the regular, the top is too long, but if I move to petite, it's all too short. So trying to find the pieces and parts and the companies and the brands that make things in the way has been, but this is the time that all of these wide leg jeans are coming out. Like, everything I've seen for the fall is wide leg jeans. And it looks so good on those 6-foot women. Like, yes. I used to pray, God, please overnight let me grow to 5'8", because that's where all the styles that I like fit people. And I'm a short person. And when I put those things on, I look round, I look dumpy, I look frumpy. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, this is not flattering on me. And then I can have, somebody else put it on and I'm like, that's the way it was meant to look. And so I still like to shop a lot online. I watch different influencers and I can see the clothes they wear. What I've really appreciated lately is influencers who put out there and say, this is how tall I am. This is my bust size. This is my hip size. This is my waist size, so that you know what you're seeing and you know the size of the person that you're looking at. Because otherwise it's easy to assume that you're the same size that I am. And then I buy it and I'm like, this did not fit me like it fit you. And so it's been really nice to find those influencers that are with, around my size, that I can go, oh, that's what it looks like on a body like that.
So there a lot to unpack. Let me know if I miss anything. So in regards to your sizing and petite or regular and all of that. So a lot of times petite women think that petite sizes just means shorter. There's actually 7 different measurements that go into a true petite size, from the shoulders to the elbow allowance, the knee, and all of that. So yes, there is length. The thing that throws us off so much, though, is there will be brands, and I don't want to mention anyone in specifically, but typically brands or retailers that have a regular and a petite in the exact same styles, and they just chop it off, the petite one off shorter. So then if you have a shorter rise, meaning, the rise on pants, and this brand just chopped it off shorter, it's still not going to fit you. So it throws it off, and the bad information makes shopping even harder. So I have some very specific petite, true petite brands, so that once are you a true petite, meaning top and bottom both work? Or are you a fancy petite hybrid, meaning, you're longer waisted so you can get by with regular size tops and then pair them with petite pants. So once you know your formula and you know your numbers, it makes getting shopping so much easier because you know what to avoid. Yep. And there are some shopping sites now that also put the model height on. So you can tap under, different sites call it different things. Usually it's like specs or measurements or something like that, but it'll say she's 5'9" and she weighs 110 pounds. This is the size. So you can also measure it, like, where's that hem falling on her, and know if it's worth it or not.
Yeah, that's good. My husband has always, again, for men, it seems a lot easier because usually they're not wearing their clothes maybe as fitted as women. Right. So they can get by with a little more of the allowances than we can. And their bodies are not as different. I mean, it's just different. Anyway, my husband, we know the size he wears. I can just about order anything in this size and it fits him. And when we got married and he started helping buy clothes for me, or he wanted to gift me with something, he couldn't understand why I could go to the same store and I could wear a small in this, an extra small in this, and a medium in this. He was like, you came home with 3 different size shirts from the same store. I don't understand. And I was like, that's the way it works. My body and what this is, it's not a plug and play. This isn't Garanimals. I can't just pull it together. And so what I did over the years was I finally found, like, to your point, I found places that whether I was a size 0 or a size 10, their clothes fit my body.
Yes.
And then it didn't matter. I just knew that if I could go there, it didn't matter so much what the size was. I knew that proportionally, as long as they kept those proportions, it would fit me. And I just said, give me a gift card there. And then you're off the hook, right?
Isn't that
I still may have to
freeing?
try things on, but just give me a gift card. I'm going to take it for the gift that it is. And then you can move on. I said, you cannot. He was taking it very personally that he could not buy something that fit me. And I was trying to say to him, this isn't a you problem. This is a everybody out there problem, right? That is the way that things are sized, and it changes all the time. Yes. So thank you for bringing that up. I think it is so important. Like, I'm excited to see if I can work with you, because I think it is so important to really understand our bodies, to know what it is we're dressing. I think about it this way. As designers, we would never go in and start specking furniture for a room that we didn't know the sizes of. We would never do that. We would go in, we would know the sizes of the walls, we would know where the doors are, we would know what we wanted to accentuate and what we wanted to minimize. We would know where we wanted the focal point of that room to be. We would take those measurements, we would create a floor plan, and then we would start buying furniture pieces of the size and proportion that fit into that plan. That's how we do it. Why do we not do that in our own clothing? I don't even know my current sizes as far as I don't know all that. I kind of put it all on hold through COVID and just, ate my sandwich and moved on. I'm still thankful that most things still fit, but I do think that COVID, it sent us, we had to kind of clear the brain to handle something. And I think for many of us that kind of got cleared, and knowing our body. My best friend does, she does like a group program where you can work on your spiritual self. You can work on your body with your breathing and your stretching and your exercise. She, helps you think about all the things that you're going to do, really trying to get back in touch with ourselves. And I think this is a good piece, a good next piece is to really know how our clothes fit and to move the decision making. And I'll tell you, the worst thing is buying online, having it not fit you, and having to go back or having to return it. I would just about rather go donate it than to have to go through a return process. I don't like it. I don't like any of it. And so having a process that allows us to think, to edit before we ever purchase, and to know what we're looking for sounds amazing. It certainly sounds profitable for me with my time, because I don't have time for the other.
No, and no one does, right? When you're like running a business and growing your empire, nobody has time for that nonsense, going back and forth and on and all of that. So no, I love that. Yeah. No, I think we were all more in survival mode during COVID. Yeah. So I think there just wasn't any mind space left for anything else like that. And so, yeah.
But I do see people starting, like I said, we were just in Alaska, and I'm seeing people, they're getting back out and they're saying, I want to live again. I almost feel like for 2 or 3 years, our life was on some kind of weird hold where we were just kind of stepping out. And I think people are realizing we're going to have a new normal, but I'm ready to get dressed. I'm ready to go out. I'm ready to experience life again. So I'm so thankful that you have a framework that helps us do that with ease. I remember, Angela, during COVID thinking, I don't want to lose this calm, because there was a calmness of being home and everything being stripped away, everything closed, right?
Yeah.
So it almost kind of brought this very insular, I'm at home, I'm with the people I love, I'm calming, I'm chilling, because there's nowhere to go and nothing to do.
Right.
I don't want to lose that. And I think what you are bringing allows us to have more space for that, as opposed to, oh gosh, I've got to go to the mall. I don't know what I'm looking for. Hopefully I'll know it if I see it. I'm going to try on 5,000 things. I'm going to feel fat, ugly, and miserable when I leave. And then I'm going to go home with one shirt that I kind of halfway liked.
Michele, you said it beautifully. That's it in a nutshell, right? Like it just, none of what you said just sounded like fun at all.
No, it's misery.
Right. And I love like one blouse that you don't even like. Because yes, that's, yeah.
You had to have that one blouse, right?
You have to get dressed tomorrow. What are you going to wear?
Something.
So
Exactly.
I think the one thing that probably, and there's a lot of things, but the one thing that probably makes the biggest difference, so I definitely want your listeners to hear it, is don't ever go to the mall without a plan, without a very specific list. Don't ever go on to, Bloomingdale's.com or Nordstrom without knowing exactly what you're looking for.
It's horrible.
It's just a total time suck. I mean, nobody has time to look for 19,000 skirts at Nordstrom. I mean, please with that. So just really, make a list, be specific, know your numbers, know how the brand fits you and all of that, which, I can help with, but really have a list and stick to your list. So, I mean, it has to, if it's not on your list and you buy it, it better be amazing, like blow your socks off. Amazing. So
I love that. So Angela, tell people where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you if they need some of this amazing spark in their life.
I love it. So I actually have a brand new free gift for you and your listeners, and I'm super excited about it. It is the 3 simple steps to making an amazing first impression. And it's designed for women who are dressing for their business or their personal brand. So they can snag their copy. It's It's a little workbook, and there's a video tutorial to kind of walk them through the steps and explain each of the ones. And it takes about 10 minutes. So it's great. So if they go to angelastylecoach.com/profit, they'll get the worksheets and the link to the video. So
awesome. I will put all that in our show notes, and I think that's amazing. And are you on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere else?
I was going to say LinkedIn is kind of my jam. So,
Okay.
and it's Angela Style Coach over there too. I would love it if they would send me a connection request, let me know that this is where they heard about our conversation, and ask me anything. I'm absolutely 100% there to support them. So ask me anything.
That sounds amazing. Well,
Yes.
thank you for bringing this conversation in. And, I think sometimes we feel like we don't give ourselves permission to spend time and energy on dressing for confidence and dressing to feel good. But I got to tell you, I remember one time my dad showed up at the hospital when my granddad was having surgery in a suit. And we asked him, why do you have that suit on to sit at the hospital all day? And that was what he normally wore to work. That was back in the days where the men wore suits. Yeah. And he said, I feel confident and more in control in a suit than in jeans and a t-shirt. And so since I might have to make some decisions, I showed up in a suit. And I thought that was where he knew how the clothing affected how he presented and his own internal mind chatter. And and I've never forgotten that. And so I love that you're giving us the tools that no matter what our body does, no matter what the event is, we can kind of walk through it, answer these questions, and then feel confident with our choices. So thank you for bringing that conversation to us today.
No, Michelle, thank you for having me. I've absolutely loved talking to you.
Awesome. All right. I will put all of this in the show notes, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Sounds great. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye. Angela, thank you so much for joining us. What a great conversation. I think sometimes we don't think about profitability in terms of what we're wearing, but when we dress, not just dress to impress, but dress for our own confidence, and we allow our mind chatter to be positive and encouraging, it puts us in a position to show up differently for our team, for ourselves, and for our clients. And that brings profitability. So if you don't know these things, reach out to Angela and let her help you. I also want to encourage you to feel confident about the business that you're building. And so if you don't feel confident about that, reach out to me. I would love to talk to you and help you think about these 3 terms that we talked about with our clothing. How do you want to feel in your clothes? I'd love to ask you, how do you want to feel when you go to work every day? How do you want to feel in your business? And is that what you currently have? And if those things are not in alignment, let me help you get those aligned. You can reach out to me for a discovery call at scarletthreadconsulting.com on the Work With Me page. And I would love an opportunity to talk to you about what could be. All things relate to profit in some way, our clothing, our business, and our mind chatter. So let's take those thoughts and let's put them to work for us instead of against us. And that will be our profit. Don't forget, profit doesn't happen by accident. Profit is a Choice is proud to be part of the designnetwork.org, where you can discover more design media reaching creative listeners. Thanks for listening, and stay creative and business minded.